Hey, it's Coach Latham, your SOL prep review coach, and today we're going to talk about rewriting equations and formulas in under 15 minutes. The most important equation that you're going to have to rewrite in algebra is from the standard form of an equation into the slope-intercept form. You're asked to do that several times on the SOL test. We have an example down here. 3x plus 2y equals 8. This is the standard form of an equation, and we want to get it into the form y equals mx plus b. The simplest way to think about this is that you've got to get y by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is move this 3x term to the other side of the equation. The quick way of doing it is just to know that 3x is going to become negative 3x on the other side. If you want to work it out the long way, what we're really doing is subtracting 3x from both sides. But taking the quick method, we're going to get 2y is equal to, now it's the opposite of 3x, which is negative 3x plus 8. So that's your first step. We've moved the 3x term to the other side, or we subtracted a 3x from both sides, whichever way you want to think about it. And to complete this, you're going to divide both sides by 2. Because we've got to get y by itself, and that's going to give us y is equal to negative 3/2 x plus 4. The negative 3 divided by 2 doesn't work out, doesn't simplify, so you just leave it as a fraction, and of course 8 divided by 2 is 4. A lot of times on the SOL test, they'll ask you for the slope. The slope is going to be negative 3/2. You have to get it in this form to figure it out. They could ask you for the y-intercept, although that doesn't usually happen. And the y-intercept is going to be 4. Here's another example that we're going to work out. We're going to do it the same way. To write it in slope-intercept form, we've got to get y by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is get this x term on the other side. So we're going to have negative 2y is equal to the opposite of 3x is negative 3x plus 10. Okay? Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. And so our final answer is going to be y equals, and then we got to do this part. Negative 3 divided by negative 2 doesn't simplify except the negatives cancel out. And 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. So we get y equals 3/2 x minus 5. The more of these you do, the more you get used to it. Let's see, this is the slope, 3/2, and negative 5 is the y-intercept. We've got another one right here. 3x minus y is equal to 9. Again, we're going to start the same way. We got to get y by itself, so we're going to move the 3x to the other side. It'll be minus y is equal to negative 3x plus 9. And this one looks a little tricky because we got the negative y. You can think of it as dividing by negative 1 just to get to y. So we divide both sides by negative 1. Negative 3 divided by negative 1 is just positive 3. And 9 divided by negative 1 is negative 9. So the slope of that one would be 3. We're going to take a side trip just for a second, because involved in this is also this whole idea of what do you do with an equation that's in standard form. We did a lot of graphing of equations that were in slope-intercept form. But the way that you do one that's in standard form is pretty easy, because they only give them to you when they work out evenly. So if we've got 2x plus 3y equals 6, then we're going to graph this one by finding its intercepts. So we can break this equation down into two different mini equations. We can say that 2x equals 6. And we can say that 3y equals 6. We just take these two parts and we set each of them equal to 6. Now what we're really doing is we're saying what is the value of x when y is 0. That's why we don't write the 3y in the first one. And then in the second equation we're saying what's the value of y when x is 0. So we don't write the 2x in the second one. This gives us the intercepts. Over here we divide both sides by 2 and we get x equals 3. Over here we divide both sides by 3 and we get y equals 2. So we know that the y-intercept is 2 and the x-intercept is 3. And just connect the dots like that. I'm going to spend a little extra time on this problem because I do want to make the point of the difference between the y-intercept and the slope-intercept form and the standard form. So if we erase all this and we do what we've been doing, let's change this equation, 2x plus 3y equals 6, into slope-intercept form. So the first thing we're going to do is move the 2x to the other side. We have 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. And then we divide both sides by 3, the same thing we've been doing. And that gives us y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. Compare this to the graph that we've already graphed. The y-intercept is 2. That's right. And the slope is negative 2/3. You go down 2 over 3. So you can really graph this equation either way. Remember, we live in a calculator age, so the slope-intercept form is the one, well, this one right here is the one that we want to use. This is kind of old-fashioned, and they only give you that whenever the numbers divide out evenly. All right, let's graph this one in standard form and rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. Everybody can do this one on your own. Hit pause on the recording and then come back and check your answer when you're done. Okay, we're back. Hopefully you've been able to do this problem on your own. The first task was to try and graph it using your standard graph form. And so we break this equation down into two different parts. 4x equals 12 and negative 3y equals 12. And then we divide both sides to figure out where the intercepts are. We divide this side by 4, this side by 4. We get x is 3. Right there is where x is 3. And then we divide this side by negative 3 and this side by negative 3. And we get y is negative 4. Right here is where y is negative 4. Connect the dots. And that is a graph of the line. I also said to rewrite this in slope-intercept form. So we've got 4x minus 3y equals 12. We start this problem out the way we did all the others. We're going to move the 4x term to the other side, which is going to become negative 4x plus 12. And to finish this problem, we divide both sides by negative 3. And that gives us y is equal to 4/3 x. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. We compare that to the graph that we've already done over here. You can see that the y-intercept is negative 4 and that the slope is 4/3, and we do go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3 to get to the next point. So that's really everything you need to know about rewriting an equation and about graphing in both forms. All right, we're going to shift gears just for a minute. You don't always rewrite equations purely to graph. Sometimes you have equations that you're going to rewrite, and they usually look something like this. You'll get directions that say solve for t, and t is not by itself in this equation. So we're going to try and get t by itself. Now, before you can divide by p and r to get t by itself, you've got to get rid of any other terms that are on this side. So similar to what we were doing with the x term, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move that p to the other side. It's going to become negative p on the other side, so we have a minus p is equal to prt. And again, t is what we're trying to get by itself. So now that we've gotten the t term down to this just single term on this side, we can divide both sides by pr. Over here, the prs cancel out. So this is your final answer, A minus P over PR. Here's another one. This one was off of the SOL test, the SOL practice release test last year. We want to try and get x1 by itself. This is really just a formula for averaging two numbers. If you take two tests, you add them both up and divide by 2 to get the average. First thing we're going to do is get this 2 off of the bottom, so we're going to multiply both sides by 2, which is going to give us, these cancel out, that's why we did it. 2a is equal to x1 plus x2. And we're still trying to get x1 by itself, so we're going to subtract an x2 from both sides. When it goes over to the other side, it's minus x2. 2a minus x sub 2 equals x sub 1. So here's your answer. Last one we're going to do today, this one is the circumference of a circle, and we want to solve for r. We've got circumference is equal to 2 pi r. This is what we're going to get by itself. This one's actually the easiest one we've done so far. All we need to do is divide both sides by 2 pi. We're going to divide this side by 2 pi, divide this side by 2 pi. 2 pi and 2 pi cancel out, so we get r is equal to the circumference divided by 2 pi. So that's everything you need to know for your SOL test in under 15 minutes on rewriting equations and formulas.